welcome to another exciting, stupendous, incredible episode of the True Earth Debates Open Panel, the place where all the people who see me on TikTok like to come on to get the chance to say their 2 cents, at least is what I'd like for it to be, at least somewhat, sometimes. In any case, I just like for it to be a nice place for people from all sides of the aisle, globers, flat earthers, concavers, hollow earthers, whatever you call yourself. We don't care. We're here to have the conversation. Welcome, once again, to the True Earth Debates. First off, huge shout out to Rockfin. We have 4 of you lovely people over there watching. Thank you for supporting the show. You support not only myself and many, many others in the community, like Jaronism, Mellow Dome, Mark Sargent, Karen B., and many, many more. You'd have to go to really know. So, in any case, let's go ahead and get to the main shindig over on YouTube, at least for now. Guys, the time is going to be limited. They're starting to just ban for posting links, which is insane. How are you supposed to funnel at all without being able to post links? Anyway, huge shout out to Austin Murphy, Jeremy Bird, much love to the tribe, absolutely. Alabama Tyrant Trapper, is the debate on Zoom concave Earth representing? Excellent, great place to be. Yes, it's going to be on Zoom. Link coming here in just a moment. Nuba, huge shout out. Go ahead and keep dropping those links, though. We got to do what we got to do to keep the support going. MrTribune, much love as always. Nominal, what is up? Brenda, absolutely. Looks like we get to have our own little bit of a Brenda-sode because she is going to be coming in the debate. So, the High On Network, welcome. Larry Silverstein's insurance policy. Man, these don't sound like troll accounts at all. Forgive me. They sound like they've been through the random name generator. We got James Olstrom. Getting to the end here. Robert Page. Flatman X, legend. We just actually did a little radio show over on Rockfin only, exclusive. What a better reason to go ahead and join today. And then we have Rig5. Smash that like button, you dorks. Obviously. Rig's over from Discord. Huge shout out. We have a great community over there on Discord, over on the Anti-Disinformation League, so be sure to go and check that out. All right. Without further ado, we all know what you've come for. The True Earth Debate Open Panel. Let's go ahead and get that link up for you guys. This will take me just a moment. We don't pay for the Zoom, so we don't open it up until it's time to rock and roll. But here we go. So, of course, we got tons of stuff that we can talk about. Thanks to all the hard work in our community, we can talk about, better not spoil anything up front. Let's go ahead and let people get on in, and let's let the conversation ensue. There we go. New meeting. Perfect. And just one more moment, and we will be ready to go. Got the link. And coming right at you. All right, hopefully that works. Let's pin this. And then we also have the Rockfin to pin this to. Shifty Eyes Shady, huge shout out. Folks, there are also 2 other ways that you can support the show. If you just like to leave a tip or a donation, you can go to thebuymeacoffee.com or the cashapp MrTribune. You can see them both down below. Thank you all for the support. But if you're not one for just handing out money, and I understand, times are tough, you can actually get some bang for your buck, some great product. We actually just released another line of clothing, which is really awesome. We're calling it the Flatline. Let's see if I can get that pulled up as well. I probably can't because I didn't prepare well enough, but it is absolutely fire. MrTribune, if you want to post that link, that would be awesome. Then I can just click it there. 3 fingers, what is up? All right. Let's go back and check over on the Zoom. Nice, Brenda. Welcome to the show.
Can you hear me?
We can now. Welcome. And we also
No, I had to make sure I muted my browser.
no worries. And then we also have Jim in the background as well. So let's go ahead and pull you guys into the show. Just audio for the listeners right now. But we will fix that right now. All right, you guys get to get a nice little look at my back end for a second. Nothing we can do about that, but now here we are. Perfect. All right, welcome everybody. Looks like we're getting things cooked off a little bit earlier. Sometimes it takes a minute or two for some opposition to jump in, but we definitely appreciate you being so prompt. Welcome.
Sure, go ahead.
You being so prompt. Welcome.
Turn off your browser.
Yeah,
sure,
Jim.
go ahead.
Yeah, browser's on, Jim, I believe.
Turn off your browser.
Huh. All right. You might need to get some you really need to invest in some headphones, Jim.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, it's gonna help a lot with the
Corsair.
echo and the sound quality.
Corsair.
What's that?
I will
Corsair.
look into that. I will look at it this week. Absolutely.
Big thumbs up for Corsair headphones. I like Corsair stuff. It's really it's dependable. It just works.
That's something that's really important when you're dealing with this kind of thing, because the last thing you want is to be in the middle of a stream or sentence and then have everything just poop out on you.
It's made for gamers, so it's popular among them, so that it's just not crap.
Right. Well, Brenda, welcome to the show. And we also have Jim from Waterworld. So we're already playing with fire. Voted the absolute worst, the worst flat earther, and wears it with pride. But we do ask that you, of course, as you always have, remain have a respectful demeanor. Don't interrupt. The true Earth debate rules.
Yeah.
So we keep a tight leash. At least we try to.
Did you get that? You got banned from Tartaria, didn't you?
TikTok.
No, not you, Jim.
No, actually, Jason the drunk over there decided to. I was giving him a hard time about saying cheers with my Denny's coffee cup, and I said it too many times on camera, and he banned me. And then David asked me back, and I said, no, I'm just going to stay away. So Brenda, nice try, Brenda, but life goes on. What do you mean,
nice try? I got banned there too.
That seems a little unnecessary.
We're commensurating in our sharing the pain.
I feel your pain.
Yeah. And I saw the only reason I know about Troubling Tribune is because of MC2, Mike. Yeah, and so it seems like you've made your choice, huh?
Well, I'm still digging through all the information, but it seems that the whole idea that it's black and white and the globe science is completely settled. Nothing really to talk about. Seems really hasty to me. So,
well, science is never completely settled, but things pretty much get settled when you can just go up and turn around and snap a picture.
That's a great way to say, great little segue in, right?
It's pretty hard. I mean, maybe we're a brain in a vat. That way, maybe it wouldn't be true. But other than that, I can't think of how it could not be true.
Well, I could go the extreme route and be like, nothing is real, of course, because I'm obviously somebody sitting in a chair having a demon project the dream into my mind. So none of this really matters. This is all just a learning experience for me. So I
Yeah,
apologize for
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys having to be side characters in this, but
Well, then,
I don't make the rules, right?
so if you're not real, then I have no obligations to you.
No, you're not the one who's real. I'm the only one who's real.
You said nothing was real.
No, so I'm the one having the dream in a chair.
Uh-huh. So you're
So
talking to yourself?
yeah,
Sounds a little sus.
it's actually not a personal experience. Lucid dreamer, and that's actually something that you can do, and you do discover when you actually start talking to the people in your dreams that they're actually your own ego that's split up into a bunch of different
Yeah.
fragments
Can
so
you
that you
read
can
a,
learn.
is it true? Is it true that you can't turn the lights on and off? Like in Waking, did you ever see Waking Life?
Oh, like in an astral projection, like you can't touch things.
Did you see the movie Waking Life?
I didn't.
You would probably like it. And supposedly in the movie, they say if you're dreaming, one way to tell the difference is turn the light switch on and off. And if the lights don't turn on and off, then you're in a dream.
Interesting. I tend to disagree with that just because you can literally do anything once you realize that you're in a dream. If you can
Can you read a
maintain.
book?
Yes,
Can you read a
actually.
book?
Yes, you can.
I don't think I've ever read a book in a dream.
Reading in general is something that's very, very difficult in a dream. It takes a lot of awareness to get to that point. That was once I was to the point that I was reading things in the dream, it was like the next day I was realizing that I was in the dream and then I was able to control things, and it was pretty wild.
Hmm. Okay. Oh well.
What can you do? But anyway,
So have you reached a conclusion about the shape of the earth?
a conclusion? Well, I think
Yeah.
today's, well, I can't call it today's, but it was a very recent observation. I guess we could get into that. I'm wondering what you would think of the Israel to Crete observation that was recently done.
Yeah, there's no data, there's no particulars on it. You can't just put up a video or a photograph and just say, this is it because this is what I saw. You have to have documentation that number one, everything he says that is true about it is true. All the facts are correct. I don't know if those mountains are mountains. They could be clouds. And I don't know what the refraction index was for that day.
Well, you can.
What was the refraction index for that day? I have no idea.
I honestly don't know. But I have talked to several Globers on this matter, and they tend to think that 600 miles from for near ground level. We're not talking 1,000 feet up. Even we're talking like what was it, 100, if that. So yeah, the refraction making up for I believe it was 39 miles of missing curvature would be quite the feat. That would be some
Is it 39
extreme.
miles? That's not the correct amount, is it?
I've seen it one time now, so I might be
No, but
missing a
is
few
it
things.
is it
It's
39 miles?
it's pretty demonstrable.
How did you
The
figure
amount.
that?
Well, I didn't figure it, but Glowbusters went and did a
Hmm.
stream on it. You can go and watch it if you like.
Yeah, but
I figured you'd know the figures on it since this is kind of like your
well,
thing.
uh you'd need to know the refraction index, which they didn't provide.
So if we assume the most extreme refraction,
I don't know enough about refraction to say what that would be. I really don't know. I don't know what's typical for a large refraction day versus an ordinary day. I don't know those things. But they didn't say what it was. What they used was the 8 inches per mile, and that's the wrong formula to use for calculating hidden
they
amount.
didn't
Eight
even.
inch,
Yeah,
hmm?
they didn't use that. They just put it into a calculator.
Yeah, they used the 8 inches per mile formula, right?
No, they had to put in
Didn't they?
observer. They had to put in the observer height, and so
Oh, okay.
obviously the eight
All
inches per
right.
square mile is not going to work just for that because that's from the feet.
Right.
But yeah, they had to put in the
Well,
observer height, and it gave them the estimated.
I didn't see any kind of refraction index, and I don't know what it was they were pointing at. I don't know. Were those clouds? They could have been. where's that oil platform? That's something we could identify and figure out what they're actually pointing at. So
So
you need to
there's
identify those things. Maybe Ruhif is a lot better at this stuff than I would be. He would be the one to ask about that.
so
Also, David McKeegan.
I did ask Ruhif about it actually, and his answer was that they got the azimuth wrong. So I went today and checked based on the date and time that they claimed, which was May 14th at 7:30 p.m. And the azimuth actually does line up with that particular ridge that's in question. And you're within your right to think that something is clouds versus a mountain ridge. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not ever one to force what someone believes, but you would have to believe that we just got so lucky that at the one day of the year, really the one day of the year that sun would set that way behind those mountains, that we would happen to be able to catch clouds that look just like those peaks. There's three of them, and the clouds, the so-called what would be clouds, line up perfectly. Those three peaks, but a little shrunken
Perfectly.
down.
They're blurry as hell.
I mean, yeah,
They're
but there's three
blurry.
distinct peaks, even though they're blurry. They're
Yeah,
just
what are the odds that a cloud would have three distinct peaks? Pretty good, I think. Pretty good.
lining up to match the same way that the mountain looks, angled the same way to Israel.
Possibly, sure. I don't know.
That's pretty astronomical odds. Clouds can look like anything.
Yeah. So it's actually not astronomical odds then.
So, how many different combinations of cloud patterns are there? We don't need to get into that. I mean, obviously, the clouds are much more. It's much more likely that we're just seeing the mountain ridge behind the.
I don't know that. I don't buy
sun.
that. I don't buy that. I'm skeptical. I know that you're kind of flat earthers are skeptical only of the official narrative, but outside of that, they'll swallow anything.
Now, I've actually disagreed quite a bit with a lot of flat earthers, especially the ones on TikTok. That
Yeah, I wasn't
just
speaking of you.
In general, yeah, I agree. There's
You're
a lot
not
of
a flat
people
earther. You're a pole.
no, I disagree with that. I just learned what that was the other day. Actually, I was like, why do people keep calling me that? It's like, no, I imagine that if somebody seems reasonable and they're just digging through things, letting people.
Sure seemed like you understood what MC Toon was saying. It sure seemed to me like you were coming along with understanding the arguments and seeming to sort of agree with it. I think that you made a decision that I'm going to sell this bullshit on the internet with my other friends who are selling this bullshit, because I saw that one video that you have on your YouTube channel, and those people are pose. None of them are flat earthers.
Which one
They are.
specifically?
The guy that was probably the one that I didn't recognize. I know Sean is Sean St. Clair is a Poe.
No, it's Shade.
Yeah, I know he
Shade is not a Poe.
Yeah,
he really believes. No,
he definitely is. He's a bullshitter.
Oh
right?
my goodness.
Like
I know
you.
we're breaking, just so you know, we are breaking one of the number one rules of the True Earth debate, which is to not character attack. But I am, out of curiosity, I am interested in why you would believe that Shane, of all people, isn't genuine.
Because I've seen him seem to understand arguments, and then in my understanding, he seemed to then make a choice.
So sometimes
it's mostly guessing, but it seems probable to me. But I'd be willing to change my mind. I'm not saying definitively.
Well, I think that I'm sorry.
I'd be willing to change my mind about you. You could convince me that you're not a Poe. That's sort of like the working hypothesis that I'm going with right now. Is that better?
Sure.
To say a working hypothesis?
Sure, if you like. Semantics.
And who was the guy? Was it Alan? Did it start with an A? Who was the other guy in the video you had the other day?
Alan from Space Audits.
Yeah, he's definitely high probability of a poll because he's simply too intelligent.
I appreciate that you feel that these people have some intelligence, and therefore you have the opinion that they would have to be disingenuous in the belief that the Earth is flat because
Yeah, yeah.
obviously the Earth can't possibly be flat. You do seem to understand some of the arguments, and there are,
It's not a possibility.
and I will agree with you that there are certain choices that flat earthers do make as far as when it comes to like which evidence that they want to accept and
I mean,
who they want to
how do
listen
you
to.
how
And
do you refute a photograph?
so a photograph simply isn't evidence. And the reason why
Of
I can
course
say
they
that,
are.
so the reason why I can say that in all honesty is because I actually did a debate with, and I got schooled on it, by the way, on if spirits exist. See, I've had experiences as a child where I believe that ghosts.
Spirits don't exist, dude.
Yeah, well, I
Don't be
believe that they
silly.
do. So that's not the topic
Yeah,
of
I know,
today's
but you
debate.
can
That's
you can
Wednesday.
believe, but that doesn't mean that the reality agrees with you.
So,
So photographs are acceptable in a
so
court
there's
of
something
law.
called
So I don't
spirit
see why they
photography.
couldn't be evidence.
So if you,
Huh?
well, let me finish my point, right? If you don't believe in ghosts, then it just makes my point even stronger. So there are actual photographs of spirits. Would you then
No, there
believe that
aren't.
that means that spirits are real?
No.
Obviously not.
If you had a photograph of a spirit, that would necessarily imply that spirits exist. But that's the problem you have to
I
show.
can find over
You have to
100
show,
right now.
yeah, that you have to show that it's a photograph of a spirit.
Okay. So in the same
Yeah.
way that you guys would have to actually show that it's a photograph of the Earth,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
like the full
Yeah.
Earth and the full dimensions. No funny
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
no fooling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm interested
Yeah.
in seeing on how that was done.
Yeah. Apollo 17.
Okay.
3 minute the Apollo craft. They took a photograph. They turned around, took a photograph of the Earth with their camera. The camera and the film back, and the photograph are all at the Johnson Space Center. You can go and inspect them yourself. There's a chain of custody, right? Just like in a court of law, there's a chain of custody for evidence. There's a chain of custody linking the taking of that photograph to the physical camera, the physical camera back, right? And the physical film that it was transferred to, all of which make it highly likely that it is indeed a photograph of Earth from space. It's a high bar.
So if I may, two responses. One really brief and quick. Bart Sabel, funny thing happened on the way to a moon. Opinion on that. Second, again, if there was, and you can humor me on this because I know you don't believe that there's a conspiracy at foot, right? You don't believe that it's possible that a group of puppet masters essentially at the top could, through compartmentalization and blackmail, basically put a boot over everybody. But if that were
They
the
could.
case,
That's possible.
if that
It
were
doesn't
the
seem
case,
likely. It doesn't seem likely to me.
that's fine, and you're within that. You're allowed to have that opinion, obviously. But if that were the case, right? Obviously, then the chain of custody to
Yeah.
the film wouldn't be really convincing to someone
Right.
of that belief.
If
right?
that were the case, you're right. If that were the case, then that would call into question that evidence. You would need, this is an additional claim that you need to provide evidence for.
Nice, I love it. So
See,
the
you're going to
initial
find
claim,
I'm different than people like Craig, people like Mike, people like Blue Marble Science, even Simon Dan. All of these people are engineers or former engineers. These are people with a heavy engineering or scientific or technical background. I don't have any of those. My background is in philosophy, epistemology, and logic, and a long period of debating people on various issues from atheism, theism, evolution, creation, back in the day when the ethno-nationalists were around, race realism, all kinds of things. I've debated all these things. I don't evaluate things necessarily from an evidentiary point of view. I view it from a logical, conceptual point of view. So logically, right, I have evidence that it's evidence that indicates that the proposition, the Earth is a globe, is true because there is evidence of that proposition being true. So in order to refute that, you have to either call into question the photograph, right, or some other thing like that, right? That's what you need to. And Ruhif is here.
Yeah, it looks like you have some backup. Awesome.
And good morning, Brenda. Good afternoon, sorry. Good afternoon.
It's 9:30 here in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah.
You betcha.
You betcha.
Yeah.
So to just kind of address the point, right, in the most logical fashion, right, and I get that the way that you're looking at it comes from a little bit differently. Like we're looking at it,
Yes.
You say logically, conceptually, basically you're weighing the odds, right? Literally is what we're
No.
doing. We're
No.
saying that one is more likely than the other, based
Well,
on
often so I'm not weighing the odds necessarily. Typically I'm evaluating the argument rationally as I can. Everybody makes mistakes, but that's my so my emphasis is that whereas people like Ruhif here or some of the others have a more technical background, have an engineering background. And so, for instance, Blue Marble Science did a long video about the LIGO installations, and he knows that inside and out. I don't know hardly anything about it, but so I would in attacking the flat Earth, I would simply start from the fact that you commit the fallacy of you presuppose the truth of the claim that and then you go about looking for evidence to confirm your claim. That's called motivated reasoning, right? So that's simply fallacious on its head right there. I mean, you have to have reasons for your beliefs. You can't say it looks flat to me, therefore it's flat, and then I'm going to doubt any evidence that is given to me and reject any evidence. This is logically fallacious. This isn't even rational thinking. This is motivated reasoning.
So you gave me a lot to unpack there.
Yes.
And Jim,
Good.
I'm
Yes, good.
obviously going to let you have some time as well. I apologize for hogging the floor, but
I'm
hey, it's my
sorry.
show,
Yeah.
right? So to kind of address the first point, right? Because I know you said we'll start with that you guys are just discounting the evidence, right? And that you just presuppose that your worldview is true initially, right? I do.
No, I don't presuppose you do.
Well, I'm saying that's what you're saying that we do.
You being third person, you being a third person plural, meaning on average, the majority of flat earthers presuppose that the Earth is flat, and then and then engage in confirmation bias. They look for YouTube videos that confirm their bias, and they reject any scientific evidence that would tend to disconfirm their bias. And that is the opposite of skepticism. That's not skepticism. That's irrational. It's not rational.
Sure.
Rational, we have to have reasons for why we believe things, and you don't have any. What reason do you have to believe the Earth is flat?
So again, just to start off, because you started off by saying that you don't look at it evidentiary necessarily at first. So I want to start off with the way that we're looking at it logically first. So you started off by saying that you led in with the photograph of the Earth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was your very first piece of evidence. So I'll take that as your, the way that you look at things.
Yes.
The way we have a photograph and everybody agrees that this photograph is real. And therefore,
actually, there were 70,000 photographs taken by that one camera.
It's more likely to believe that the photographs are real.
Was it 700?
So
was it 700 or 70? I can't remember.
So let me ask you this, and this is just a very basic, honest, it's an honesty test, right?
Oh, okay.
If I had claimed that I had supernatural powers, and one of those powers was to walk on water, right? But it was only at special times, and one of the evidences that I had brought forward was 100,000 pictures of me walking on water.
That would be good evidence that you walked on water.
Do you think that that would be good evidence that I did
Yes.
in fact do something that we know is impossible?
It would. I don't know that it's not logically impossible.
Can I tell you what I would recommend in that situation? If I was faced with somebody who said, "I can walk on water," and here's 100,000 pictures of me walking on
Yeah.
water,
Yeah.
I would say, "Let's do a live demonstration, and then let me see you
Sure.
actually walking on water."
Sure, that would be a test. That would be a test. But I have to say that if there's evidence for you walking on water, then and the evidence, it isn't like completely made up. It isn't completely frivolous. These are good photographs. Sure as hell looks like you're walking on water. I would have to consider the possibility that you can walk on water.
Well, I didn't ask you to not
Because it's
consider
not
the.
logically, it's not, there's a difference between, there's something called nomological impossible and logical possible, or and metaphysically impossible. So logically possible simply means there is no contradiction. There's no contradiction in the claim that you can walk on water. It goes against all our known laws, but we could be wrong. We could be wrong about that. Maybe there is a way to walk on water. Right? It's logically possible. And if you have evidence that demonstrates the possibility of that proposition being true, then I would have to at least consider it. And I would want to do further tests. Yes, I would want to see you do it live. I would want to test it. I would want to put my finger in the hole of Jesus Christ. Yes, I would want to test it.
I mean, I really can't disagree with wanting to test something that you have a picture for, right?
Yeah,
So, and I don't
yeah.
think that any flat earther would say that a picture wouldn't be with actual good testing, right?
Yeah.
And not begging the question fallacies, that we might be able to accept that,
You
especially if
don't
it
know
was
what
somebody.
begging the question means. You don't know what begging the question means. You don't know what it means.
It
What
means
does
to
it mean?
presuppose the
No.
premise of that which is to be proven.
Wrong. That's
Go
not
ahead.
true.
Educate me, please.
Presuppositions are not begging the question. Begging the question is when one of your premises, your conclusion is contained in one of your premises. Presupposing is what science does all the time. All the time. They make presuppositions, they make assumptions all the time, and then you test the assumptions. You do an experiment to test it, and most of the time, most working scientists I've heard this because I'm not one, but I've heard them say, for instance, every time I go into the lab, I'm trying to prove myself wrong. And the best moment in a scientist's life is, that's funny. That's a time when they couldn't prove themselves wrong. That is a big moment, right? So a lot of flat earthers get logic wrong because Nathan Oakley and especially John Quantum Eraser have poisoned that well and disseminated false beliefs about how logic works. People like Bev have absolutely no clue what logic is at all. He has no understanding of logic. So begging the question is when your conclusion is in your premise, and it's not presupposing, right? So in the case of the photographs, you can test them. They're at the center. They're at the Johnson Space Center. The camera is there. I presume the transparencies that they developed, the film that is all over the place, I would presume that's there also, right? So you could test that theoretically. You probably couldn't because they're not going to hand it to anybody.
Do
but
you know
somebody
anything
could.
about like cameras and film specifically?
No, I don't know a thing about it.
What if I were to tell you that you could take two identical cameras, right? And you could take different pictures with those cameras. You could switch the reels, and you wouldn't be able really to tell which camera took which picture.
Okay, I don't know.
So so the thing is this whole like chain of custody, right? Of like you can go test. I don't doubt that the camera's real, right? That the camera exists. I'm not one of those people that's like, Africa doesn't exist, right? That's stupid.
Right.
The camera exists. The film exists.
Yes.
It's not fake footage.
That with the 70mm Hasselblad, it doesn't have film. It has a camera backing. It has that is a positive image is I learned this the other night. A positive image is put onto the emulsion on the camera backing. And then from that, then you can then make a transparency. And then you can further develop that transparency into a traditional photograph. So the Hasselblads large format, they work differently than I thought. And I learned this just the other day. Some guy yelled at me about that for a long time, but it doesn't affect anything. What do you think the probability that that camera was switched out or there was no camera? What do you think
So
that probability is?
I don't need that really probability. All I need is the probability that they could have filmed some of the stuff
That would
in
be an
other
additional
methods. Like in other
Yeah.
words, you could do the whole studio. You could also do the miniatures. You could do the green screen. There's multiple different ways that you could explain how film is
Yes,
fake.
you're right. Those are all possible. Those are all possible. You have to show. So we're in a court of law, and you object to the prosecution bringing forward this photograph, and you say it could have been faked. Well, that's an additional claim. You have the burden of proof. That's an additional burden of proof on you, not on me. I have
So
a chain of custody showing, according to the standards of the institution of NASA, which is that they have those people can testify. They handled that camera. They took
they're the
those
defendant.
pictures.
The difference is though that they're the defendant in this scenario, not the prosecutor.
Oh, okay,
You wouldn't be
doesn't
able to
matter.
trust.
Either way.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to trust the. You can trust me. Basically, is what we're saying. I have the chain of command. You can trust me.
It's not about trust.
It absolutely
it's
is.
about evidence. What evidence do you have that it was faked?
Again, so if you do spirit photography, which is simply a
Yes.
method of taking fake pictures of a ghost using a mirror and some dry ice and couple other things, right? You can take a very real picture, a camera that will exist, film that will exist with a spirit or a seemingly
absolutely.
a spirit on that film, right? And then I could say to
Absolutely,
you,
right.
you have the burden of proof of proving that this film is fake. The only thing that you could do is show
No.
me methodology, right? A methodology of how it could be faked, and then that would be enough. I've presented multiple different methodologies of how it could be faked.
No. Go ahead, Ruhif. I've talked long enough for this period. Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
simply
Ruhif.
claiming it could be fake is not a reason to believe that it is fake.
So when we're looking for empirical proof, right? Obviously, Ruhif, you know that a photograph is not going to be the scientific empirical proof that anybody that considers themselves
Photographs are
scientific
used in
would
science
consider.
all the
Evidence,
time.
yeah.
Every single issue of Nature magazine has photographs in it. What are you talking about?
Nature magazine, there are articles
Nature, the
about
publication,
nature.
the journal, Nature journal, the journal. All of
There is a
them
magazine,
have.
by the way.
And there can be
Okay.
opinions
There is a
about
magazine, yeah.
there can be opinions about scientific data that then get mistaken as being scientific. The opinions about scientific data are not necessarily scientific.
The way you would use the word scientific implies, to me at least, that you have some veneration for science. Like it's sort of some higher standard of proof than other standards. Is that
I mean,
correct?
it's definitely a higher standard of evidence than a photograph, considering that a photograph has multiple ways to be faked, and we're dealing with
Yeah,
we're dealing
you can
with
fake anything,
a possible conspiracy. So
right? But do you have evidence of it? A photo is prima facie evidence of something. Unless you have evidence to say that it is fake, then it still stands as evidence.
So I have the methodology of how it's possible, and the miniatures
Yeah.
literally exist, and there's photographs of the miniatures that nobody disputes. So I mean, the actual they just left the murder weapon lying around, I guess you could say.
I didn't follow that.
So there's literally miniatures of the moon and of other planets that they have constructed, and they're very, very detailed. And they've taken these pictures in black and white of them because it's so old. So it's like, different stuff. But anyway, so they literally have miniatures of the moon that you can do. I mean, this is just one of the methods of film. I mean, when you're doing,
Yeah. But is it what they did? Do you have any evidence that is what they did?
But see, that's the thing. What would you accept as evidence that that's what they did? Besides the murder, like we have the miniatures, right? We have the miniatures exist, and we have nothing outside of, okay, so what I guess what I could say is that because you really want to believe that these photos are real, and I admitted before that a photos could be a place to start, right? So like, what test would we follow up to then verify that the photos then are real?
Yeah, I never argue the photos. I don't particularly care about the photos. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we can
because
switch.
it's terribly fallacious place to
It's not
start.
fallacious.
If we're
It's not
talking about
fallacious.
proving things empirically, we
No,
can't even
you
begin to
keep, you
prove
keep
things
saying the word
empirically.
proof. When we're talking in a colloquial sense, the word proof is just evidence that satisfies your own subjective standard.
I was talking about it in the empirical sense, if that has any difference.
There isn't any, not in
You
empiricism.
can't. Yeah.
There's
You-
no
you
such
just
thing as
can't.
proof. There's no such thing as proof in empiricism. Immanuel Kant made that point 300 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made a distinction between a priori and a posteriori, between analytic, right, and synthetic propositions. A synthetic proposition is one based on experience, on evidence, and analytics are true in by definition, right? So a synthetic statement, which is that this is a photograph of Earth, right? It's based on experience. It's based on it's not like saying all bachelors are unmarried men. That's bachelors are unmarried men is truth in virtue of definition. It's simply a definition of what bachelors are, right? But in the case of a photograph, or in the case of some other evidence, right, that's based in experience, and experience isn't absolute. We can't prove experience because we can always construct a hypothetical against it, right?
I would say that there is a difference between testing to see if a hypothesis, if just a simple hypothesis is true to prove a concept out, versus establishing
Hang
an
on.
actual
Wait,
cause and effect.
You said how to prove a hypothesis is true. Just give me any random hypothesis.
Things.
The Earth's flat, whatever. Yeah.
Sure. Earth's flat. We'll start.
Yep.
Do that one.
So the hypothesis is the Earth is flat. What test are you going to do?
Line of
Just
sight.
completely hypothetical.
Line of sight. Microwave propagation.
Yep. Cool. So hypothesis Earth flat. My test is radio line of sight, whatever. What result are you expecting if the Earth is flat? So just give me a random result.
I'm expecting to be able to shoot a laser, or shoot the microwave fairly far, and to not be obstructed by any Earth curvature.
Yep. Okay. So your logical syllogism is, if the Earth is flat, then I expect my radar to go 1,000 miles. Right.
Sure. You can say 2,000 miles.
Sure. Yeah. If the Earth is flat, then my radar will go 1,000 miles. You then go into reality and you shoot your radar,
and it goes
2,000
miles.
And it does go 1,000 miles. What is your conclusion?
Well, you'd probably want to do some more tests, I suppose. Repeat it.
Okay.
Log the data, publish it, and then pass it around to your buddies for peer review.
Right. Yeah, that's all good. We're just trying to simplify it as much as we can. If my hypothesis, if the Earth is flat, then I expect the radar to go 1,000 miles. The radar does go 1,000 miles. What's next?
I mean, I thought I was pretty clear on that, right? You repeat it. You see if it does it again.
Yep. Okay. If the Earth is flat, we shoot a radar 1,000 times and it goes 1,000 miles. We do go into reality, shoot 1,000 times, and it goes 1,000 miles. What's the next logical step in that syllogism? Do you want to write it down or screen share?
Other tests that are going to get the same result.
You guys are missing the point.
Yeah, I'm not getting the point, honestly.
Okay. I will share my screen.
By the way, before you do, I do want to introduce, we've been hogging the floor. We have Aaron Mikey, who's been on mute for a while, and Curve, welcome, and Jim, of course. What are y'all's thoughts and opinions on the conversation so far? Thank you for being patient.
I say I just made it in here. I just came around on a conversation, so I'm trying to catch up.
Jim?
Awesome, Ruhif. I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, I'm gonna have to send one more. Whoopsie daisy! I forgot that we were running out of time. I'm gonna send another one. I didn't kick anybody. I promise. All right, let's go. We'll go ahead and get the invite link. Whoops! What a blunder. There you go. Let's pin it. There you go. YouTube and Rockfin coming your way. All right. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We got Andrew B, John Hill, Eric Gaynor, Flatman X, Shane St. Pierre, all over on Rockfin, and lots of people over on YouTube. I don't want to hold up the show. We don't have all the time in the world, so let's go ahead and get right back into it. Brenda, your virtual camera. There you go. All right, Ruhif, sorry about
Well,
that.
I think I had a good interaction so far. It's an introduction, so I'll just take off and listen then, and let Ruhif do his job because he's good.
I want to ask
Brenda,
before Brenda goes, I want to ask her something.
Oh, okay.
She's
And
talked.
I won't.
Brenda's talked for about 40 minutes straight. I want to ask her a simple question. Can you show me one experiment by a scientist ever that shows motion of the Earth around the sun?
Motion of the Earth around the sun. That would be an observation. That would be, yeah. I did that in high school. We used
no.
Yeah, we used observations from astronomical observations and plotted them in high school. I remember that.
Can that happen on a geocentric model as well as a heliocentric model?
Possibly. There are epicycles and stuff, right?
So Brenda, hang with me for a second. Can you show me one experiment ever done by a scientist who would be a globe earther, any scientist ever, that shows your heliocentric model, which is motion of the Earth around the sun? One experiment ever, please.
I told you it's an astronomical observation, and I plotted the orbit of the Earth around the sun in high school.
And you just agreed that it could happen on a geocentric
yes,
model.
Yes, you're right.
Well,
yes,
correct?
That's correct.
So it can happen on both models. So those cancel each other out. Can you show me one experiment? Can you show me one experiment by any scientist that shows motion of the Earth around the sun?
Yeah,
Just one.
I understand. Well, one would be Occam's razor, which is the simpler explanation is to be preferred. That's number one.
Can you show me one experiment by any scientist that shows motion of the Earth around the sun?
And the other would be the observations of parallax.
Stellar parallax,
yes.
You have it at 6 months and 6 months on the other side.
Yes.
You get into 89.999999999%. So I want one experiment of a scientist.
That would be parallax.
I want to know, because parallax is your little fairy tale. And it
always goes out. So this is
Brenda.
Don't
interrupt. Brenda, don't interrupt.
Parallax. It's parallax. You can reject the evidence, but it's parallax.
Hey, Brenda, I need stellar parallax goes out to 89.99999. As far as you want to go, it's something you made up. I want an experiment by a scientist in the history of science that shows motion of the Earth around the sun.
Well, it would be an observation, and the observation of parallax it would not be possible if the Earth was geocentric.
No, that actually is perfectly explainable on the Neo-Tychonic model. So
absolutely. Hey, Brenda, Brenda, you're drowning. You're drowning big time.
I'm drowning.
Brenda, I need one experiment.
I told you.
Scientist. I need one experiment from any scientist.
I'm sticking with parallax.
We're not going to beat the dead horse, Jim.
I need one.
Well, supposedly, Bob Nodell showed, in addition to showing the Earth rotating, some globe earthers have said they also picked up a small amount in the fiber optic gyroscope, they picked up a small amount of the Earth's rotation around the sun. So I would suppose that presumably you could use a highly accurate gyroscope like the fiber optic gyroscope to detect the motion of the Earth around the sun. I would
The
guess.
gyroscope, the ring laser gyroscope
Yes.
only proves sidereal rotation of the sky. Would you disagree?
Rotation of the sky? No, it doesn't know anything about the sky.
The mechanical gyroscope deals with the axial rotation of the ground. The ring laser gyroscope deals with the rotation of the sky.
No,
Do you
no, it
disagree with
doesn't.
that? It does.
Yes,
What?
yes,
How-
because
how-
yeah,
It does.
no, it
Can
doesn't.
I butt in for a second?
Yes,
So
please,
Brenda
please.
Brenda says she's got to go. I have to go and introduce one of our big doggies
Well-
to our little puppy. So can I go through this little logical thing first, and then Brenda, if you can stick around for at least a little bit, and I'll come back.
I just wanted to be polite because I have a tendency to take over, and I want to be aware of that and to allow other people to go. So I wanted to be polite and allow you to go.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll be a couple minutes on this, and then I'll disappear for about 15 minutes or so. Yeah, just before the Zoom ended. In fact, Troubling, can I buy you a Zoom membership for a year or something?
Sure.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right.
If you want to support the show, man,
Um,
I accept it from all
yeah.
parties.
All right. So on the screen, we were talking about if my hypothesis of a flat Earth is true, then my radar will go 1,000 miles. Okay. And we do it 1,000 times, whatever. And we publish it and we do all that sort of shit, right? But basically, if the Earth is flat, then my radar will go 1,000 miles. We go into reality and we test it, and the radar does go 1,000 miles, right? What is the conclusion from that?
Earth is flat.
Oh, okay. So conclusion, interesting. Therefore,
Isn't that how the axiom
Earth
goes?
is flat. All right. Do you know what affirming the consequent is?
Oh, nice. Stepped right in it,
Yes.
didn't I?
You did. You did. You did. Yeah. So when you said what can we do to prove a hypothesis, what Brenda was saying before, you literally can't. And this is why.
Right.
Yeah.
Ozymandias, I don't know if you know about him, Ruhif. Ozymandias has
Years ago, yeah.
Yes, he has an excellent video on this, and he uses the example of if it rains, the sidewalk will be wet or the street will be wet. The street is wet, but that's affirming the consequence. So we can't conclude. We can only conclude it. We can only falsify it. We can't ever verify. And in fact, I hear people like QE and Nathan and others talk about verifying the hypothesis. That's something you could never do. You can only falsify it. And it was disproved by Karl Popper in the 50s. The Vienna Circle, including Carnap and some other people, thought that they had the verificationist principle, and Popper showed that was logically fallacious, and it can't be done. Science can't prove anything; it can only disprove things. So then, if it rains, the street will be wet. The street is wet. Probably it rained. That's the best we can do. We can say probably it rained.
I would agree with that.
Unless they're defeaters. Maybe my neighbor turned on the sprinkler. That's why, right? That would be a defeater. But we can only, and then we can do more experiments, and we can have a confirmation of our general theory about wet streets. But it could always be proved wrong by a single instance.
Correct. All right. I'm going to go and sort out these doggies. I will be back.
Hey, can I ask Brenda another question? Can I ask Brenda another question, please?
Fire away.
Hey, Brenda, is general relativity, the bending and warping of space-time, is it physical or is it theoretical?
Space-time is physical. Einstein thought it was physical.
I will be
Okay.
right back. Do keep it civil, please.
Yes, sir.
And what did they do to prove that the bending and warping of space-time was physical? What they do?
Well, if you can bend it, then it must be physical, right?
What experiments did they do to prove the bending and warping of space-time?
Well, observations. Again, they would be Einstein
What did they-
rings.
What
Einstein
did they do?
rings.
What
Einstein rings.
Einstein rings. Will you please define what Einstein rings were?
Einstein rings are when you have a very distant object being distorted by a closer object, by the gravitational field of a closer object. It happens even with galaxies. There can be a very distant galaxy and a nearby galaxy, and we can see the distant galaxy form a ring-like structure around with the nearby galaxy, which is the one that's gravitationally bending the light from the distant galaxy.
Instead of looking at the stars, why don't you do something here on Earth?
Why? What difference does it make?
What experiments, Brenda? What experiments?
That's an experiment. That's an observation. Yeah.
What experiments have been done in the history of science, especially in the last 120 years, that proves the bending and warping of space-time?
There's a Wikipedia page on proofs of general relativity. There's another one on proofs of special relativity. You can look up those.
Do you think Wikipedia tells you the truth?
Generally, yeah.
Okay, so instead of you answering the question, you defer us to something that we have to go look up ourselves. So in other words, you don't know the answer yourself.
That's correct.
Okay, and again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but you never answered one scientific experiment by any scientist that's ever been done that proves motion of the Earth around the sun. Not one.
Yes, I did. I said
You did?
observations. We make observations, and I plotted the orbit of the Earth myself from ancient data. From data.
Who has the echo? I'm sorry, I gotta fix that.
I don't know who has the echo.
Is that you, Jim? Probably was. Okay, no worries. Continue.
Hopefully not. So astronomy is an observational science, right? It makes observations. Right? Aaron, Mikey, you're echoing.
Why am I sorry?
I hate to beat a dead horse. I would like to have one experiment done by a scientist that has been recorded that people use to prove motion of the Earth around the sun. Please, just one.
Told you.
You did. You did.
I did.
Brenda, do you know what Michelson Morley and Michelson Gale and Dayton Miller? You know what they did?
Yeah. They disproved the aether. They falsified the aether.
You know what's fascinating? The title of their paper in November 1887 was "The Relative Motion of the Earth and also the Ether." But so the beginning part of it was to go out and prove the relative motion of the Earth around the sun. Did you know that?
No, that's false. That's false.
No,
that's not. That's false.
Brenda, I actually have the November 1887. You can look it up, and it will give you from the scientific magazine. The manual was taken out of. It says the relative motion of the Earth.
Yes.
And the luminescent ether, and that's what it says. But you just said it didn't, Brenda. So
no,
Brenda,
I said it wasn't about. It wasn't about. It wasn't an attempt. It was not an attempt to prove that the Earth revolves around the sun. It was an attempt to demonstrate that by assuming that there's an ether as the medium for which light propagates, that given that we know already that the Earth revolves around the sun, there would be a difference, and that would show up in the interferometer.
What did their experiment say they had in their title, the relative motion of the Earth? What was their outcome? What did they find?
They falsified the luminiferous ether.
Are you saying Michelson Morley and Michelson Gale lied?
No, they were mistaken. They were wrong.
Why did Einstein at the Kyoto, Japan, 1922, say that he wrote special relativity in response to Michelson Morley?
Yeah, because it was a problem. It was a big problem. It was a lot of people at the time believed that there was an luminiferous, there was an ether. There needed to be a medium for which light could travel in. People believed that, but then when they did the experiment, it showed that there was no such medium, and that was a crisis, right? So Einstein responded to that crisis by proposing that light doesn't need a medium.
Oh, he threw out the ether and
Yes.
replaced it with empty space.
Yes.
He replaced it with empty space. So Brenda, tell me if I'm wrong, would probably believe that a photon can travel 13.7 billion years through 80 sextillion, 600 quintillion miles, which is 18 zeros,
Yes.
to reach your eye. You believe that?
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Awesome.
Right, because a photon doesn't need a medium in which to travel.
That is literally just okay. Before I just say that, right?
It's not an opinion. It's
What-
not an opinion. It's a fact.
What
No, it
evidence
isn't,
would you
Brenda.
have that it doesn't need a medium to travel?
We falsified the proposition that it needs a medium.
So you're talking about the Michelson-Morley experiment, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So you do realize, I mean, I know that you've heard the quote from the I can't remember which scientist right off the top of my head. Somebody from the chat or in here can help me out. Of the when they said there was only one other possibility that the Earth were at rest.
Well, many people have said that. I mean,
in regards to that specific experiment at that time.
Yeah, I know Wolfson said something very similar, and Jaffe, Jaffe, said something very, very similar.
Now, Michelson himself didn't accept the results of the experiment. He didn't accept it on his deathbed. He refused to accept it. That doesn't matter.
Can you show me a quote on that, please? Because Michelson even said that if you go with the results of his test, that the Earth would be at rest. Do you disagree with that?
I don't know that he said that. I don't know.
And did you know Dayton Miller spent a good portion of his 30 years confirming that Michelson-Morley was correct, and that
Of course they're correct.
And every interferometer experiment ever done in the history of the world has shown 3, 5, 6, or 8 kilometers per second around the sun, and not 30 kilometers or 66,600 miles per hour, which you will see when you Google it. Did you know that, Brenda?
It falsifies the luminiferous ether. There is no ether. Therefore, photons do not need a medium in which to travel.
And that is directly from your boy Einstein. Is that correct?
Yes.
How would redshift work if there's no medium?
Because light is a wave also.
Do you know what a wave is?
Yes.
What is define it?
It has amplitude and frequency, right? It has a quantity of amplitude and frequency. And so the redshift is when a wave is receding from you, right? It sort of stretches out the wavelength and it shifts towards the red.
So therein lies the issue. So there's a difference between mechanical waves and whatever the
doesn't matter.
Whatever. Well, it does matter.
So the problem here is that light
has
a dual nature. It is both a wave and a particle.
That's a hypothetical concept in order to explain the phenomenon.
No, it's simply the reality of.
No,
it doesn't matter.
Interpretation.
It doesn't matter what we think. Nature sets the rules.
Can we just Brenda, with all due respect, can we at least be intellectually honest and agree that this is a theoretical framework to explain the nature of light? And it's
an observation. It's an observation.
We do not.
We have observed that light has both a particle nature and a wave-like nature. It has both of those natures.
So how can two particles have a length? How can two particles have a line between them? See, the waves make sense. See, there is this is why it's important to define the difference between the waves, because a mechanical wave is something that actually is a medium being excited, and then there is a wave, something like wave function, where you have particles being initiated out that looks like a wave, right? Particles looking like a wave is not literally a wave that would act the same as a excited medium, right?
The only way to really understand light is to understand the math, the physics behind it. We are left with our intuitions about the physical world based on us being these here in the middle world, right? We're not cosmologically scaled, and we're not microscopically scaled. We're in the medium world, and in this world, it is hard for us to understand how a particle can both have particle-like properties and wave-like properties. but nevertheless, that's what the science says.
Well, if
And so
I
we
may
just have to
offer-
accept, we just have to accept
No, we
that
don't.
fact
So,
because that is what the experiments show.
my goodness. Okay, so the reason why I think that you're having trouble accepting this is because for one, I don't think you've done all the reading on it. I know I certainly haven't. But there is actually quotes going around that even though they don't want to call it
don't
the
care about
ether,
quotes.
what is effectively the ether, which is just the thing that magnetism and light travels through, actually does exist. The Michelson-Morley, if anything, only
Quantum
debunked
fields,
It only debunked a stationary ether. It didn't debunk the idea of a moving ether. So yeah, you actually
No,
have to go back
it
and look.
completely debunked an ether. What there is now is called quantum field theory. And what is proposed is that there are fields and that photons are disturbances in that field, right? But a field is not like...
What is a field?
A field is an area of in which a function returns a value.
So it's the same type of thing as that energy is the ability to do work concept?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
not really a definition?
Right. So no, it's the mathematical definition of a field is a region, an area in which a function returns a value.
Could I find
and that value can be scalar? It can be it can have different values, right?
Could I find common ground with you and say
Yes.
that it might be possible, and one of the interpretations is that there is in fact a background median, but it would not cause the friendship in light the way that we would expect it to, because it's not a stationary ether and it's not air. So it's not like it's basically the same thing as saying that when the air goes, or when water goes to air, how there's a different there are different things of different densities, so they can exist on top of each other. And flat earthers don't argue about why they don't
Light can travel
dissipate into
through
each other.
vacuum, though. Light can travel
Right, so
through
there's
vacuum.
a thing, right? You can't vacuum it out. It's something that permeates through everything. It's just that's
Well,
why
that's
there's
what-
vacuum point energy, because
Well,
and
that's the
why
same with magnetism, though.
that's why
dude.
things can
Dude, you
exist at
can
2 points
you
at
can have
once.
you can put a magnet in a vacuum chamber, right?
Right.
And have another magnet,
Right.
like say outside of it, and
Right,
it
but
will
you can't-
attach to that. Yeah,
Right, because it
magnetism
permeates.
doesn't need it.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you're
because
assuming it
there's a
doesn't-
quantum field. There's a quantum field
So
in which the magnetic force is transmitted, right, by virtual photons.
So I think that's an interpretation, and you're of course willing to
No.
have that.
Well,
but you can
you
can easily replace the field with background medium. It's essentially the same function. And the fact that you can have a quote particle, which is just a point of inertia, the fact that you can have a particle existing simultaneously, supposedly in two places at once, is like
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what
we're not dealing
if
with
you're-
little particles. We're dealing with waves.
Again, it doesn't matter what your intuitions are that it can't be in two places at once. It can. It can go through two slits at the same time. It can interfere with itself. It doesn't matter that your intuitions tell you that can't happen. That's what the experimental evidence shows.
If you reify the worldview that it has to be a particle,
Reify the worldview.
Yes, and then it
He's
also
got
is going through the
he's got
splits
all the means.
as it's not,
He's got
as
all
if
the
it's
means.
not a particle, but we still want to assume that it's a particle. Then yes, you can call it a wave-particle
it's not a
duality.
particle,
But
it's
it
a
makes
wave.
more sense to just call it a wave.
No, it's a both. It's both though. That's the problem. There's experiments where you can show it has wave-like properties, and you can also show it has particle-like properties. That's what actually Einstein got his Nobel Prize for, was for the photoelectric effect, which shows that light has particle-like properties.
The
That's when you got
the photoelectric effect in 1905 that he won a Nobel Prize for in 1921 was a thought experiment, and that's all it was.
No,
So Brenda,
Max Planck did the experiments.
Okay, what is Planck's constant? What is it?
I don't know off the top.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
know a lot of these. So
Okay,
again,
Brenda,
no, just
Brenda,
one second.
Brenda,
Here.
you talk a lot. Can you?
Yes,
can
I
you,
do.
Can you dial it back a little bit, please?
I'm trying, but it's
Just
hard.
please dial it back a little bit. So can you tell me about E equal HV or E equal HF? Does the E equal the HV and the HF?
I don't
Because
know.
that's quantum mechanics, and you brought up
I don't
quantum
know.
field theory, so obviously you know something about quantum mechanics.
Yeah,
So can
I know
you
something
explain to
about
me-
it.
Hey, Brenda, please don't interrupt me. Brenda, can you tell me about E equal HV or E equal
don't.
HF? And can you
Don't
tell
know
me
anything
what
about those things.
Can you tell me what Planck's constant is?
Don't know any
Okay,
of those
Brenda.
things.
Brenda, why did you invoke quantum field theory if you don't know what it is?
Because it's the standard model right now.
So you can repeat like a parrot, but you don't know what it is. Is that correct?
I'm not a physicist, right?
Oh,
I don't have a graduate degree in physics.
Hey, Brenda, you don't need one. Brenda, you don't need one. You know what Planck's constant is?
No.
In your E equal HV, the E is the energy, H is Planck's constant, and V is vibration, F is frequency. You know Planck's constant is 6.626 10 to the negative 34. If you write that out, it's 0.33 zeros, 6626. And Planck even said it was an act of despair because he had to come up with a mathematics. So when you have two sides of an equation, you have E equals HV or E equals HF. They never equal anything out. But because Planck's constant was put out there, do you understand what 6.626 to the 10 to the negative 34 looks like in reality?
That's a Planck length, isn't it?
Do you know what that looks like in reality?
Really fucking small.
And he said he did it because of a act of despair. He did it in 19. He did. Oh, you don't care. He did it in 19.
What is this getting?
He did it in 1901, and he got the Nobel Prize for it in 1918. You invoked, Brenda, quantum field theory, and you have no idea what the basics of it is. Is that correct?
I don't know the physics. Correct.
Okay, so Brenda, if you don't know the physics, why are you invoking it?
Because it's the standard model right now.
No, no. The standard model.
What do you mean, no?
The standard model of quantum mechanics is math. That is all it is. And your photo and that photoelectric you talked about in 1905 to 1921, that was an entire thought experiment because nobody has ever seen a light go into a nucleus that's surrounded by electrons and have them knocked out into their different orbit. Did you know that?
What are you talking? Well, no, we can't observe electrons. What are you talking about?
You can't observe it, so that makes it a thought experiment.
No,
correct?
it's a theoretical unobservable.
It's theoretical unobservable. So it's theoretical. Hey, Brenda, it's theoretical and it's unobservable, but we believe it anyway. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, Brenda.
Yes,
Brenda. You're amazing, Brenda.
Yes,
I'm gonna sit.
I am.
I'm gonna sit back and enjoy this moment. You can't observe something, and it's theoretical, but it's real.
That's right.
It's all yours, troubling. It's all yours.
Because the science says it must be there.
The science says that it's unobservable.
That's right.
And it's theoretical, so it must be true because we have to have our little physics that helps us prove our spinning space ball in the vacuum of outer space.
So
okay, very good.
Yes, good. You had your say. So you
had your say for 40 minutes, Brenda.
That's okay. I'll let you talk then if you have some more to say. But it sounded like you wanted to stop talking, so I was going to say.
Because Brenda, the reason I never talk to you in Discord is because you are like this, and I know what you're like. And I have the great privilege of talking to you tonight. So thank you.
Great. Yes, it is a privilege and an honor.
Absolutely.
Super fun stuff. Appreciate everybody tuning in for such a fire show. Let's not have any dead time. We got tons of stuff going on in the chat.
So troubling, can I say that the upshot here is that we have theories, scientific theories, that are based on experimental data, and those theories make proposals about what we should see, right, or what we should see as a result of a certain experiment, and we conduct that experiment, and we see that result. We cannot directly observe an electron. We cannot directly observe subatomic particles, but we can indirectly observe them. We can conduct experiments which show they must be there. And
No,
the preponderance
no,
of evidence,
no,
the
Brenda.
preponderance of evidence is that they must be there. If you disagree, you need to come up with your own theory and show
I
that
don't.
yours
Hey,
is better.
Hey, Brenda, if my spouse cheats on me and continually cheats on me, I don't have to find another spouse until I kick the cheating spouse out. Would you disagree?
Your spouse is an observable, not.
I am saying that you're saying I have to come up with something before I discard your fairy tale. Is that what you're saying?
Our theories are logically consistent and backed by experimental evidence.
What experiment has proven that an electron either falls back into a nucleus or has been bumped
Falls
into a
back
different
into-
orbit? What experiment has shown that a electron has been bumped back into it's gone back to the nucleus? That doesn't happen in your fairy tale that often, or it gets bumped into a different orbit.
I have an answer
What
for you.
experiment? What experiment has shown that, Brenda?
Do you have any fluorescent lights?
Brenda, what experiment?
Do you have?
You
do you
told
have
me,
fluorescent lights?
Excuse me, Brenda. You told me it's unobservable, and
Yes.
you told me it's a theory.
Yeah.
So what does it matter if I
Do you
have
know
something physical?
Do you know how a fluorescent light works? Do you know how a
you
fluorescent
know-
light works?
You told me, Brenda, that it's unobservable
Atoms.
and it's it's theoretical. So now you're telling me it's not because I have something
Atoms?
physical that I can go
That's
get.
not a direct
Is that
observation.
what you're saying, Brenda?
So the way a fluorescent light, I am downtown. The way fluorescent light works is that we pass energy into the gas in the tube, and the atoms get are excited. The electrons are bumped into a higher orbit, then they decay, emitting light. That's why your fluorescent light works.
How can you say that definitively when you say it's unobservable and it's theoretical? School me.
Because fluorescent lights are based on that theory, and they work.
That's unobservable.
It doesn't matter.
And that it's theoretical. Is
Yes,
that what
you're right.
saying?
Yeah, you're
Brenda,
right. We can't
Brenda,
observe.
How can you
We
be
can't
sure about it, Brenda?
So
How
Jim,
can you be sure about anything?
Jim, you're correct that we can't observe the electrons getting kicked into a higher, more energetic orbit and then decaying and emitting a photon. But based on that theory, we construct fluorescent lights, and they work exactly in conformance with that theory. Therefore, we feel that the theory is not proven true, because science can't prove anything true, but it is that theory is confirmed to a high degree of certainty, but not absolute certainty.
High degree of certainty.
Yes,
that's
a high degree.
I don't want to beat a dead horse. I know Troubling doesn't want me to do this.
Say that a lot, and there's all these dead horses around me. I mean, what the hell?
It's one of Troubling's rules that I try to follow, and so I appreciate Troubling very much. And so when you say something is hypothetical, theoretical, and unobservable, and then
it's not
you
a hypothesis,
talk about
it's a theory.
Hey, Brenda, you're interrupting me again, Brenda.
I'm sorry.
When you tell me these things and then you say it's basically factual, Brenda, I laugh at you because you are a great parrot, because you don't. One of the basic equations of quantum mechanics, and you even evoke quantum, field theory, is E equal hv or E equal hf, and frequency and vibration, and you had no idea. You had no idea what Planck's constant was, even though he won the Nobel Prize for it.
But
you had no idea. You also had no idea.
Jim, can I reply to you?
You also had no idea that photoelectric was a thought experiment.
That's
not
all
it was, because it can never be. It can never be proven
in undergraduate engineering. You can do that experiment. The photoelectric.
You cannot.
Yes, you
verify.
can.
You said it was theoretical and unobservable, correct?
You said we can't observe electrons or protons or neutrons, any subatomic particles.
And
that is correct. They are theoretical, unobservable.
Thank you for playing, Brenda. Thank you for
playing.
That's fine.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Thanks for playing.
So Troubling, I don't know your first name, but as I came in here, I mean, you'd probably be better off talking to Ruhif about this, or any of the other people who are engineering people, or Craig. Craig could tell you about this stuff. He could rattle this stuff off by memory. I don't know that stuff,
So
but I do know how to conceptually analyze things, and I base it on known facts that are the standard model of physics. That stuff, I feel confident in citing that stuff because other people other than me have yes, absolutely.
Other people, Brenda,
absolutely.
Other people have done your thinking for you, Brenda.
Yes,
is that what you're saying?
yes,
Okay,
they have.
Good. Very good.
Yes.
Very good, Brenda. Thank you.
Yes.
I was worried that Glenn just went away.
I feel
'cause
like
had a question
I feel
for
like
him.
I should take a break here and let other people go. Aaron
Yeah,
Mackey hasn't said
I
had
did.
anything.
I did
Yeah,
want to
can I
talk to.
butt in for a second? How's my audio here?
You sound great.
Okay, good. So I just wanted to bring up the point. I don't think any of us are physicists or on that level. All we can do is, basically listen to what other people told us on that subject. How about coming down to like the Earth level here and scientific studies and all that kind of stuff that's been done down here? One thing that I've noticed that's really put a hole in the whole flat Earth theory here is this. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but this Lake Pontchartrain.
Pontchartrain.
Pontchartrain argument.
In the bridge they have that goes across that big lake in Louisiana.
Yep.
Is everybody familiar with that one, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an old one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the debunk on that from the flat Earth side? Just because I don't know if it ever has been.
I mean,
you are seeing one direction. Do you agree? Let me just ask you this. I'm sorry, troubling. Let me ask you this: is the horizon in your world, in your fairy tale, geometric or physical, or is it apparent?
I'll say all three of those. Yes.
No. I'm asking the gentleman who asked the question. I really don't want to talk to Ruhef because he thinks relativity is irrelevant. You think it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to talk to you because you're not a serious thinker. The gentleman who asked
that's
me
actually
about Lake
pretty funny.
The person who asked me about Lake Pontchartrain is the horizon, is it physical? Is it physical or is it apparent?
I'm gonna say it's apparent. It's
Okay.
it's not a physical thing. There's not a physical obstruction there.
I think it's a physical thing.
So if the horizon is not physical, then it's apparent. How do you know there is an actual curve or an horizon that's physical if it's apparent? Please tell me.
You measure it. So my background is I'm a professional surveyor, and
Cool.
this is what I do for a living. So
Cool.
What we do.
I know
Whether
what you
you're
do,
doing
but go ahead and tell me.
GPS or it's total station or old school. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter what way you're doing it. GPS, I know the flat Earth community likes to throw that one out because the data is really hard to understand on that for the average
it's
person.
not hard to understand.
You got satellites and calculations to figure out.
We understand Newton's third law of motion, but go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, with the GPS, you basically got a model in there of that Earth, and that datum that you're using, you have to have it in it. I can go in there and I can build another file. I could actually build a flat Earth file, and it won't work. You'll actually watch your rod take off after a great distance, like your 8 inches per mile squared at sea level, because that formula changes all over the world too. It's not a perfect circle, right? That's just a generic equation. But yeah, anyway, like Pontchartrain, if you this is theoretical. So if you were able to set up a total station at the one end of the lake, and why I say theoretical, you can't physically see that far with a GPS unit with a total station, but the accuracy that one of those measures at, you may actually be able to tell somewhat of a difference at, like, say 400 meters. You might pick up that inch or that half inch of difference there. The way that they put those pilings in when they surveyed it and they constructed it, they would have, my guess is, depending on how old this thing was, they either used GPS or they did use total station survey. And it would have been a geodetic survey where they have to take that curvature of the Earth into consideration. They didn't go measure off the water. This would all have been put in by an actual survey and laid out by an engineer ahead of time, like designed by an engineer. So what you're seeing there is all those pilings are literally the same height off the water based on that information that the engineer came up with and the way that the surveyor put it there and then the way that they constructed it. And you can very clearly see a curve in there, like a visual curve.
Is the water underneath the bridge at Lake Pontchartrain, is it curved or is it flat?
It's curved, 100%.
It's curved 100%. So where else in the world do you know that water, large bodies of water at rest curve? Can you tell me?
Every body of water in the world will have it. It's just not apparent on these smaller bodies, like small lakes and stuff like that, rivers. It'll be almost nothing. You're talking like thousandths of an inch on some of this stuff. Whereas Lake Pontchartrain, how far it is, I think I did I did a debunk on this today on one of my pages there. I think we figured out if you're looking across that bridge, you can't see the other side.
All righty. Let's go ahead and get our last one going here. Appreciate you guys sticking around, watching such a fire show here. We, yeah, that's one way to put it, right? But still, good conversations, trying to get to the meat of the matter here. Let's go ahead and do copy link. I'm noticing I'm not getting to answer a lot of questions fully, but what are you going to do? Just assert yourself even more. All right, let's get this pasted for you guys. Jump on in. Check us out. Replace the pin. And for my folks at Rockfin, what is up, Lord Byron? Alexander Ayers. Who else do we have? Andrew B, RG, Flatman X. Awesome. Appreciate you guys coming on. Let us march ahead.
Yeah, I think Ruhef is going to help you out with that subscription probably.
Yeah.
This is, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Then we can
Sorry, I got cut out of the meeting there. But...
And I heard him. Ruhef also said he's going to buy me a puppy.
Oh, have you seen my puppy, Brenda?
No, I didn't know you have a puppy.
Oh, we got a puppy on Sunday. Hold on a second.
All right, everybody, time to get emotionally triggered in a good way.
Oh,
baby.
awesome. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm not sure it would be good for me to have a puppy in this apartment. I think it's too small.
You can't have that puppy, Brenda.
Well, I could. I mean, this place a lot. Ooh, he's super cute.
Come on, Brenda.
I'm sorry. I misgendered. Oh no, 1,000 lashes.
I got kicked off, troubling. I want to ask the gentleman.
No, you didn't get kicked. The free session ended.
It's cool. It's cool, Brenda. Thanks. And I want to ask the good gentleman, does your horizon, what you see, change from day to day, if not hour to hour? Yes or no?
No.
Ooh. Oh, are you okay? I want to get this right. What you see, the atmospherics don't change from day to day. Is that what you're saying?
So the horizon itself doesn't change, but yeah, there's a refraction factor to take into all of this stuff as you're going through it. Refraction will change it quite greatly, actually, from what you visually see.
Absolutely. So from day to day, that what you saw will look different from day to day. Is that correct?
Yes, but something like this, like Pontchartrain thing, if you look at it,
yes,
it'll be that way every time you go there. Refraction, it'll only amplify it
every time. So why do we have videos that show that it is a flat plane? Why do we have those?
Do we?
Yes, we do have
videos
those.
showing a flat plane.
Please show that one.
I do not have share capability. I'm telling you guys.
Can you give him screen share?
Hey, Ruhef,
on a phone.
You don't care, Ruhef. You don't care about relativity. I'm going to talk to the land surveyor.
Yeah, because I'll fucking smash you, Jim. You'll get smashed if you talk to me. That's why I don't want to talk to me.
The land surveyor, you put your digital picture into your total station or your theodolite, and you let it do the calculations for you. Is that correct?
That's one way that you can do it. The other way is
Okay.
you can manually go in there and you can actually input the calculations yourself, as we quite often do.
And you're pre-assuming your presupposition in your Texas sharpshooter, you're reverse engineering the fact that there is 8 inches per mile squared.
Generally at sea level, that's going to change as you go up in elevation. It's also going to change if you go down below sea level.
I'm talking terrestrially on the Earth, 8 inches per mile squared based on a radius of 3,959 miles, a circumference of 24,901 miles. You are pre-assuming, you are assuming you're using presuppositions, you're using Texas sharpshooter, and you're also using a reverse engineering. You assume it's 8 inches per mile squared that you live on a spinning space ball. Is that correct?
I assume I live on a spinning space ball, yeah, but it's not 8 inches per mile squared. That's a very crude and a very generic equation. It's actually way more complicated than that. A lot of people don't. Well, a lot of people don't realize it's not actually a globe. What we're living on, it's ellipsoidal in shape. It's bigger. It's bigger one way than it is the other. And depending on where you are, you get these really weird magnetic anomalies in the Earth too. And that equation goes right out the window. It's not a lot, but it does change in certain areas.
Where is it changed at? Can you enlighten us, please?
I'll just also say that these dots are going to be burned into my memory if I keep seeing this as the globe proof.
Yeah, I'll keep showing it until you guys understand what it is.
I tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I'll understand what that is if you can try to understand relativity for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I've tried. 10 minutes, done.
Okay. Then go ahead and just play. I want to know. I want to ask I want the land surveyor to deny me something. You actually believe, and your theodolite, your total station, and everything that you've come up with assumes that you live on a spinning ball. Is that correct?
100%, yeah.
And it's not possible that what you saw. Have you been to Lake Pontchartrain?
No, I haven't.
Are you using Soundly's? Picture or whatever as evidence?
I got a Metabunk article here. Actually, the guy goes through the whole thing. I'm sure you've probably seen it. He shows on different days, different angles, different ends of the lake. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And Soundly is a globe earther, and he doesn't take into account that there may be atmospherics on that day because he doesn't go back the following day. So I'm just going to ask you this respectfully. Are you parroting what Soundly says?
No, I actually don't have the article up in front of me right now. I should actually figure out how to do that because I'm not 100% sure if that's who I've actually got. I think from what I remember reading it, I think they used several different instances. I don't know if they were all from the same person, but they had several different photos from several different days. Does that sound like the same fellow or no?
Photos. Have you ever seen a video of it? I tell you what, somehow I will get this information to you, whether it's a YouTube video by somebody or this other 2-minute video that shows 2 instances where there's absolutely no curvature. Would you be interested in knowing that?
I'd be interested in taking a look, but a lot of this is going to have to do with perspective, your elevation at the line.
How about for you too?
What, for YouTube, you're saying?
No, how about for you as well? Because you're seeing it at one day when the atmospherics may give you that appearance. Would you agree with that?
The atmospherics, they'll give you what they're going to do on Lake Pontchartrain. They're going to increase it, if anything.
How do you know that? Because you haven't been there.
I haven't been there, but that's the way that this refraction works off the water.
How do you know if you haven't been there over those 22 miles?
Well, we've got lakes up here in Canada. I've seen a similar effect.
I am living on Lake Michigan for the last 3.5 months. I'm 4 miles away from it. There is
Yep.
no curvature. There is refraction, atmospherics every single day that I go out there and look at it. And I actually have a video looking across at Chicago, 32 miles, and I see these two boats clear as can be, and I see a wave of water on the other side of those boats. I have never seen a wave of water like that. It was like the wave was going to totally knock over the boats. You know what that was? That was atmospherics from a distance. It changes every single day. If you can't agree that atmospherics change every day, but they'll always prove your ball, then you are being disingenuous.
I have a specific point for Ruhif, but you can respond real quick. I apologize.
Yeah, just real quick. If they change every day, like we should be seeing, if it's flat, we should be seeing something of an average the way that you're talking. Like one day we'll see it refracted where it shows it looks like it's curved one way. Another day we should actually be able to see it like take more of a concave type of shape. We don't see that ever.
Don't,
because the way refraction works, it
don't
goes,
bring up
it'll only amplify that curve.
don't bring up concave.
That's an
My
excellent
God,
point.
man.
That's an excellent
Oh
point.
my God, man. Oh my
Anyway,
goodness.
troubling. What is that?
Oh my goodness.
I'm
All right,
just giving you the information that I've got here.
So this is going to be the juicy one.
You are parroting what you're reading. Is that correct?
You already know
Nope,
the
I
answer.
still
to that,
don't
Jim.
have it up in front of me. I can't even figure out how to get out of the screen here.
He read it somewhere once or looked at an article, and he's trying to bring it up, but that's okay. It's just way better point, right? So we talked a little bit yesterday, I believe, or maybe the day before. Can't remember. We talked recently on the observation that was recently done for Israel to Crete, 616 miles, 120-foot observer height. Your response was...
My response?
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to
missed.
straw man you at all. So I'll just let you
Yeah,
say what it was.
the azimuths don't match.
Okay, can you like show that?
Sure. Let me fire up Google Earth and share it. Oops, stop sharing. Fuck. What have I done here? Hang on.
Oh,
There we go.
good. Casey Industry in the chat. Huge shout out.
All right, there we go. So Google Earth is my Google Earth sharing.
By the way,
Yeah.
folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to be dropping the new merch at the end of the show. Might do a giveaway. So stay tuned.
All right, so here's the observer where he says he was, Shimshon. Now, these two lines that I've drawn from the observer are just two azimuths. So the left line or the lower line is 293 degrees and the upper line is 294.
Where do you? So where's the observer at? Where do you have him pinpointed?
Where he said he was.
Which was?
Hang on. Properties 31.661944 degrees north, and suspiciously exactly 34.55 degrees longitude east, I guess. I'm not sure why there's no more than 2 decimal places there.
What day are you using for the azimuth?
14th. And, well, sorry, these lines are just directions. Doesn't care about what day, right? So these are irrespective of time.
Okay, so this is what you've drawn then.
Yep.
Okay.
So the 293 degrees runs, against this tiny little island off Crete. Don't even know what it's called, Gabdos, something, I don't know, whatever. And this one is 294 degrees. And the first bit of land that you would hit on Crete is about 294.225. And then the highest point on Crete was 295 point. Let's do that actually. Let's just actually do it and see what it is. Let's draw a line to to the highest point on Crete, which is 295.33. 295.33 to highest point. Crete. Whoops. All right. Yeah, so 293, 294, and 295.33. On the day of the observation, when the sun was setting, the sun reaches horizontal when the azimuth is about 292.5, I think it was, which is, to the left of this red line. By the time the sun is at this azimuth, 294, it's like 2.5 or 3 degrees below the horizon. So it just doesn't line up. I don't understand how he planned this and got it so wrong.
So
I don't understand.
Before we go any further, can you verify that your lines are accurate on SunCalc?
I don't use SunCalc. Well, yeah.
What did you use?
I'd be asking about declination on that one as well to make sure that they're going along the right path. It's my 2 cents.
Well, you can see this. So regardless of like if they're going on the right path or not, the thing that we agree on is that they see the sun. So what I'm trying to figure out is exactly where the sun is at the exact moment that this observation supposedly took place.
Yep, let's do that.
Which was what, 7:30, 7 o'clock?
I think it was 6 something local time. Let me share Stellarium 1 sec.
If you could just pull back up the short little video, that would be great, because then people can get, for those who aren't familiar, you can see what it is that we're talking about and what's been presented.
Oh, can you do that?
I actually can't, because I'm doing this.
Oh.
I'm doing this with the screen grab.
Hang on 1 second.
Appreciate the participation.
I can look up the link for Taboo Conspiracies video.
Yeah, that would help.
I can look that up while you guys are talking.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
cool.
Thank you.
Share screen. All right. So I get Stellarium. And boom. We are showing Israel. All right, so that's that. So he is he is where he says he was. It was the 14th of May. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's working fine. Cool. 14th of May, and we are looking for the sun. And 15. Oops, so that's 6. So current time is 6:46, and the sun is below the horizon. So we go back a bit. All right. So cool. All right. So when the sun, so this is the center of the sun disk, and it incorporates refraction. It is at horizontal when the azimuth is 292.5. All right. So
I put the link to the Taboo Conspiracy video in the Zoom chat. It's in Zoom chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, so when the center of the sun disk is at horizontal, it's 292.5 degrees azimuth. Because the sun is 0.5 degree in angular size, then we want that to be, oops, there we go.
So wouldn't we, and this is just me making sure that we're hitting the right details, because he's doing it right at sunset, or is it right after sunset?
It's at, do you see the sun setting?
Well, I know you see it in the camera, right?
Yep.
But like, let's say that, again, we're dealing with attenuation of light. The Earth is indeed flat, and the sunset is due to it literally just getting too far away, as opposed to it actually sinking. So, I mean, you kind of see where I'm going with that. It's important
not
to.
Really.
Man, no.
The azimuth to Crete is at least 294.2. All right. So, can you see the Azalt figures here that I'm pointing out?
Yeah, it's important because the sun might be a little bit moved over more than what you're thinking. because it might be
Well, I've
over the curve.
Yeah, but I mean, these Altaz figures, I've verified them to within a few arc seconds. They are incredibly accurate. So if Stellarium says this is where this thing is, yeah, I will believe it because I've verified it.
I'm looking for the.
yeah.
Where do I see the time on this? I'm not super familiar with Stellarium.
Time's down here. So 6:30 and 43 seconds on the 14th of May. And I've stuck him where he says he was. All right, but the key things you're looking for, the azimuth 292.7, and that is when so if the altitude is minus a quarter of a degree, that means the top of the sun is at horizontal at 0 degrees. His observer height, what's the observer height? 100 feet or something? 130 feet? Yeah,
120 feet.
120 feet, there you go. So the dip down to the horizon is 0.18 of a degree. So when this azimuth is minus 0.44, that means the sun has set. You won't see it. Cool. 0.44 will tick up a few seconds. Maybe a minute. Oops. 0.44. There we go. All right. So the sun.
I like that
center
it
of the sun
says.
disk.
I like it that it says sun type star.
Star. Yes. Yeah. So when the altitude is negative 0.44, we've got 18 or 0.18 degrees of horizon dip, and then 0.26 degrees because the sun is 0.52 degrees. So we've got half the sun below, and then a further 0.18 in dip. So this is when you will not see the sun, right? 0.44. And the azimuth, when you will not see the sun, is still less than 293 degrees. Right? And Crete is 294 point something, and then 295 point something if you're looking at the tallest mountains. So the azimuths don't line up. And I'm really curious how he planned this.
What do you think he was seeing?
Oh, just clouds. I know it's an unsatisfactory answer, but it's clouds. Yeah. He should go back now, actually. He should go back now, because then the sun will actually line up with Crete.
So
if we go to time and date.
So let's play the video that was linked in the chat.
Who's doing that?
And confirm the details of the experiment. Or observation, whatever the hell you want to call it, right? Potato. Yeah. We know what we're talking about.
Correct.
Curved side.
So who's playing the video? Who's going to play the video?
I thought you were going to play it.
Oh, all right. Cool. 1 second.
All right, here it is.
Are we ready? Ready?
Let's get it.
Sound coming through?
No. No, it's not.
Oh, all right. Hang on. Shit,
I don't think the sound has to come through. I think we've seen it. We can just watch it.
Well, they might say the time that they did the stuff, and I'm trying to get the details.
All right. Are we ready now? Let me know if it's coming through.
Hello, everyone. I have an awesome video to share with everyone today, and it comes from the YouTube channel Shimshon. Shimshon currently has only 4 subscribers, and so I highly recommend you head over to his channel, subscribe, and show your support and gratitude. I'll have a link in the description. Shimshon has a serious tech background. He was a graduate of University of California, San Diego in the STEM program. Unlike the globe trolls who frequent our channels, Shimshon actually worked in the purported space program. He worked for a time at the Center for Astrophysics and Space Sciences at UCSD on the Electron Drift instrument. He wrote most of the code to control the test harness to develop the instrument and refine its operation. This was allegedly launched on the space shuttle, but more likely just found its way onto a satellite balloon, much like this one. Shimshon has continued to work in software development in both America and Israel in marine and space science labs, controlling hardware, recording, analyzing, presenting data, using complex algorithms written in C and Forth. None of that really makes any sense to me, and I do have to take his word for it. Shimshon has been married for 30 years and has adult children. He also wanted to give a shout out to the Owen Benjamin Israeli Bears. Shimshon actually first came to the Flat Earth when he saw Owen Benjamin's analysis of my video, Our Flat Earth Journey, Romania, back in 2019. Owen, if you happen to watch this video, I just want to thank you again for helping so many people open their eyes to the truth of the Flat Earth. Anyways, after watching Our Flat Earth Journey, Shimshon decided that he wanted to see too far as well, but in his own way. Filming long distances has now become a hobby for him. That brings us to this particular footage that was taken on May 14th, 2023 in Israel. According to Shimshon, he had been preparing for years to capture that very footage. The current recognized world record long-distance ground-to-ground photograph from the Beyond Horizons website is this photo at a distance of 275 miles. It's an impressive record, but that world record pales in comparison to what Shimshon filmed, and this wasn't filmed from the top of a mountain, but only from about 133 feet. The observation comes from the Ashkelon National Park in Israel. According to Google Maps, the elevation at that location was 128 feet. Add 5 feet for the camera's tripod, and that gives us an observation height of about 133 feet. I have the coordinates listed here on the map.
Okay, Paul, sorry.
This was his camera.
Yeah, so I got I was 10 feet off, and you were a little off on the I don't know what the hell it's called.
The longitude?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you sure?
You said it was like 44 even, didn't you?
I said 33.55 degrees east.
Well, they're 33 even.
You know what that little symbol is there?
Degree, right?
No.
Oh.
Minutes.
Oh.
I have the coordinates listed here on the map. This was his camera and setup on that day. I don't know much about cameras, but Shimshon is using a full spectrum infrared camera here. According to Shimshon, this is better than the Nikon P1000 for long distance viewing, and it cost him less than $600. I hope at least 100 of you go out and get this set up. I certainly need one of these. Here's his equipment list for those who are interested. Pause the video if you need to. Much like this Canigou photograph that was taken in France from a distance of 163 miles, that you can find on the Beyond Horizons website, Shimshon instead planned to capture the setting sun behind the Greek island.
Yeah, it says he planned to capture it. So I'm really curious, first of all, how he planned it. What tools did he use to plan it? And secondly, how did he get the plan wrong? Anyway, we'll talk about that in 4 minutes.
Island of Crete. But the distance between Ashkelon National Park in Israel and the highest point in Crete was 616 miles.
Ooh, 296.
That's 453 miles further than that Canigou photograph.
296.
And the only way you're going to see that far is through a full spectrum infrared camera. Let's watch the footage.
So you can see, even Taboo draws an azimuth of 296 to one of the mountains.
Only way you're going to see that far is through a full spectrum infrared camera. Let's watch the footage. I'll leave a link to the unedited version in the description. There is some confusion on exactly what platform that is. Unlike many other countries, Israel seems to keep those things a little bit more hidden. And so you have some maps showing platforms much more north, while some showing the platforms much further south. The GPS coordinates are off as well. Shimshon didn't even know that the platform was going to be there when he planned this event. Although interesting, the platform and location doesn't affect the observation because we're relying on where the setting sun is and the angle to it. As you can see from this rough diagram, SunCalc placed the sun in direct line with Crete, but it gets better. So, how can we confidently say that Shimshon actually filmed Crete 616 miles away, and those aren't some distant clouds? First, keep in mind that the whole event was carefully planned
Can you
and
pause it?
executed, including
Can you
a
pause it,
specific date
please?
and vantage point.
Yep.
On the right of the third peak,
Yep.
does it go up?
It appears to. Yeah. It looks like not as solid though.
It's
Like the
really
cloud's
hard to
thinning out a
tell.
bit.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be weird, though, if that's those 3 points. That would be weird if it went up.
Maybe.
I'd be
I
looking
would
at
like to
it
see.
for scale. For that distance, you'll have how far it should actually appear compared to the size of the sun.
Yeah. I've yet to see anyone identify the 3 mountains, because then we can do some angular separation things. Yeah.
This wasn't an accidental viewing. He used a high zoom full spectrum camera to capture what very few people would be able to do, to capture the silhouette of Crete in front of the setting sun. Second, the silhouette in front of the sun certainly looks like pointing mountains in the distance, much like Kenegu, which further supports Shimshon's claim. What are the odds that at the exact time of his planned observation, clouds just happen to form at the same angle with the setting sun that appear to look exactly like mountains? Possible, but not probable. But more importantly, the silhouette of the mountains in the actual video closely matches the same result from Google Earth. Here we have our pathway from the camera's location to the highest point of Crete. According to Google Earth on May 14th, 2023, this is what the sunset should have looked like on the same pathway. Keep in mind that Google Earth adds a phony curvature drop, which distorts the view of the mountains.
Michael,
Regardless,
pause it for a second, because I just found another point of contention. Right, so there seems to be a point of contention on where the sun's actually setting. Because they're basing it, I mean, they're doing their check with the Google Earth. I mean, you did it with Stellarium. And there was another check that was done with SunCalc. Have you checked it with SunCalc at all?
SunCalc should agree with Stellarium. Like I said, I verified Stellarium to be super accurate within a few arc seconds.
Oh, I mean, every single time? Or because I know that sometimes SunCalc is, at least I've been told, right? I haven't done a whole bunch with SunCalc myself, so I am relying on other words for that. But I actually did pull this one into SunCalc myself and all. I don't think I got the exact, I may not have gotten the exact observer position right. I did get the sunset, like, not directly over Crete, but like almost directly over Crete. So
if the sun is going away on a flat Earth, shouldn't we see some retrograde motion in the sun?
Hang on, Brenda. I'm going to go in like 5
I can't
minutes.
help it.
Let's not detour. Got to go pick up my boy very shortly.
Sorry.
Fuck, I was going to say.
We're actually at the end of the whole show here as well, so we will be wrapping it up here within the next like 10 minutes.
That's handy. The other thing with Taboo Conspiracy is that he's not looking down the line. He's not looking down this line. He's way to the right to try and get the sun to appear over the top of the mountains that he wants. That's pretty dishonest, I think, in my book.
I mean, I've had some trouble operating with the Google Earth sometimes, but yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
Keep playing the video.
Yeah, and then I better go into
Google Earth sunset with the actual video. I have them here on top of each other. The silhouette of the mountains in Shimshon's video appears very similar to what Crete should have looked like from that angle. And the sunset angles match as well. Those two facts strongly support the claim that Shimshon didn't...
Sorry, he just said the angles match as well.
Well, how different can the angles be? He's 600 miles away.
Yeah, a degree is still an enormous difference. Huge difference.
Indeed, film Crete.
A degree is 2 sun widths.
I'm trying to see if I see those mountains move at all, but I mean, then I could just say refraction.
Do they move?
Do they look like clouds? Like, is there any way that I can verify that these are clouds and falsify the claim?
Yes. We can send him back there now. In fact, I've got to go in a second, so I want to get this little thing done. Ashkelon, Israel. So if he goes back there, oh yeah, basically now, if he goes back there tonight, right, he should see over the next few days. So the sun is setting at about 295 to 296. You know, if he gets another shot of the sun setting Yeah, that will falsify it for sure.
How long is the window?
You could 296, 297 even over the next few days.
Dang. Real opportunity here, fellas. If somebody wants to reach out and see if we can repeat the observation, that would be.
Yeah.
Let's just shove it in their faces, right? My goodness.
Do that. That'd be fantastic. My little baby's having a nap. Yeah. I think the furthest north it gets is like 298 or something. 298. Yeah. So it's almost reaching its peak, northmost place anyway. All right. One more minute and then I've got to go. Peeps.
To the coup de grace of the globe. At an observation height of 133 feet and a distance of 616 miles, we get a target hidden height of 240,197 feet, or 45.5 miles. Here are the calculations in metric. For some perspective, a height of 45.5 miles would be enough to hide 88 of the Burj Khalifas stacked on top of each other. The highest point on Crete is Mount Ida at 8,058 feet, or 1.5 miles. That means the tallest point on Crete should have been 39 miles below the geometric globe horizon. The top of those points should be 39 miles below the curvature from the vantage point of Israel. Of course, the higher globe propagandists aren't going to give up their livelihood and surrender to the flat earth truth, but come on. Shimshon's video evidence here destroys the globe for the honest and reasonable person. There is simply no way that Crete should have been visible 616 miles away at a mere observation height of 133 feet. I don't care what imaginary pixie dust you throw at it in your ridiculous attempts to maintain your globe indoctrination.
Yeah,
the globe illusion is dead.
You can see that the clouds up higher are clearly moving a whole bunch, and if those are indeed clouds, I mean they're sitting really still. It's a not just sitting there for a brief moment, right? I imagine they sit there for a little bit and the clouds don't move. So, I mean, if they are clouds, I just find it very unlikely.
Yeah, like I said, I completely understand it's not a satisfactory answer for you guys. He could go and repeat that.
I got a really valid point on this one, insert.
Can I have the next 30 seconds? I got to go.
Yeah, go for it, Glenn.
What I want to find out from this guy is what tools he used to plan the observation and basically see his plan, because if he planned it properly, he would not have done it on the 14th of May from that position. It doesn't line up. So anyway, thank you, Troubling. I've got to go. I'll see you again next time.
Thanks for coming on, offering your 2 cents, giving the globe side some fighting chance there, I suppose. Some would disagree.
Okay.
In any case, cool. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Yeah.
All righty. And I do want to go ahead and wrap it up. So, Aaron, you did have a point that you wanted to make, and then I'm going to let Jim go, and then I'll let Brenda go, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay, you bet. So one thing that I do for sport is long-range shooting. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Do you know how to use the mil radians to size distance of an object? Are you familiar with that at all?
I don't have personal expertise on it, no, but go on.
Okay. So I'll just give you a brief run through it. Okay. So you figure out if you know roughly what your target size is. We know the island is about 50 kilometers long, hereabout, right? Roughly. This is really crude. You take your target size, and then you take what it shows up in your scope, and how you count how many milrads that is, and you times that size by 1,000, so you end up with 50 million, and you divide it by what it shows up in your scope, and then that gives you your distance. Or if you have the distance, you divide like the distance is 800,000 meters roughly, so you divide 50 million by 800,000. That gives me 0.0000125 milrads. That's really small. And that sun, I'm not going to point my scope at the sun because you can't do that. But if you were to measure the sun, I guarantee you it's big. It's like at least a half a mil radian, like 0.5. So there's something wrong with the size in there. That's what I'm pointing out right away. That's my piece.
There's atmospheric magnification over water all the time. So, I mean, I live in Florida. I see the sun big AF all the time. So maybe that would explain it.
Well, I think the millimeters. I think the zoom in the millimeters was quite large. I don't know if we were told how much it was zoomed in and what the millimeters was. You know, on the P1000 you have 125 time magnification with 3,000 millimeters. On the 900 you have 83 with 2,000 millimeters. So I don't know if this good gentleman who took this shot, if we know what his magnification was.
Well, he used a special infrared camera, so it would be very different from
Yeah, sure.
others. I have no knowledge about
Yeah.
IR cameras.
Yeah, your infrared is the way you should look at really, really long distance. I could put infrared on my P1000, but it would cost about as much as I paid for the P1000.
Yeah, the point is when you're measuring it, I'm looking at how big the sun is compared to how big they're proposing the island is. You shouldn't even have to. It's a no-brainer. There's like, I think you'd have to have like over 10,000 or 20,000. I can't remember what it was, but it'd be like 20,000 times magnification. It'd be some ridiculous number like that. That's what you'd have to get to
I mean, did you see
explain that size.
Did you see in the video he lays out the tools, he lays out the zoom. You can go and get the stuff yourself and test it. I mean, it had obviously a very powerful lens on it, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was max zoomed using the
I think I
infrared.
know. Yeah, I think I know what Aaron is saying. Yeah. I think I do. He's saying that at that distance, those mountains on Crete wouldn't be that size compared to the sun. Is that right, Aaron?
Exactly. Yeah, because
All right, sorry about that. It cut us off right in the middle of it. I do want to let people get their final word. Not going to just cut it like that. So let's go ahead and get one more thing in here. Everybody say their final piece if you want to. If not, you don't have to. No worries. But let us get this reposted, shall we? Boom for Rockfin. Boom for YouTube. All right. Awesome. Let's go ahead and get back over to the Zoom. No worries. I don't mind ending the show on that note. They're not. I just don't think that they're taking into account the fact that the sun could have been magnified, right? So to say, oh well, it's not right in size in comparison to the sun. When you're not even seeing the actual size of the sun that you normally see, then excuse me. Anyway, it just seems pretty weak. And it is funny that those would be the only time I've ever seen stationary clouds, which should be impossible on a spinning Earth. Go ahead, Jim.
Did our land surveyor say that the magnification had to be like 10 or 20,000 times? Was it him who said that?
It is.
So I just want, I'm going to be nice because, you know, I'm working on being nice on troubling shows. When you say 10 or 20,000 time magnification, do you know how crazy that is?
That is, how crazy is it?
I mean, 10 or 20,000 times. I mean, you know, I have 125 times on my P1000, and my P1000, if it was, you know, focused, I could get that shot, not as maybe as big as that. And so his magnification would have been, you know, maybe 125, 150, 200, maybe 300. But for you to say 10,000 to 20,000 is so off base. I don't know where to go with that.
Wait a second. Yeah, that's microscope levels.
Yeah.
You think we're using a microscope lens to look across the?
Yeah, I don't know where to go with that troubling, but anyway.
Yeah, it seems like a claim without evidence presented. Anyway, we do these open panels every Monday, so you can get another shot potentially. But one thing that Brenda did say that I do agree with is that we were terrible at beating the dead horses. Everybody on that. It's like there are all these fucking dead horses around. What are you gonna do? Yeah, that was accurate. So spot on there. I do appreciate everybody for joining. Jim, do you have any final words? I'll let you have the floor for a minute, and we'll get out of here.
Troubling, thank you as always. You're the best. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for coming on, Jim. You've been awesome. You get a little uppity there for a moment, but we reeled you back in. We were like, "Heel boy," back to the side. No, but you did great, man. And
I'm working on it, Troubling.
right. Chat, you guys are the ones who really make the show. Honestly, you set the tone. You really help me, be in a great mood while I'm doing this. So huge shout out to you. Let's go ahead and I'm going to end this, Jim. So I will see you on the other side. And folks, don't go anywhere. You know what we do. We always play it out. Oops. I don't know if he was trying to say something, but just message me. Whoopsie daisy. All right. Guys, what an awesome show. The time has come once again, right? We're past time as usual. Running in the late night grind. I think I've done the show every single day for the last 7 days, and we're continuing on. I have my follow-up interview, second round, with Flat Earth Dave, the man, the myth, the legend. So be sure to check out that interview. It's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, I believe, and should be awesome. So I hope you guys are appreciating the content. If you are, please consider supporting the show. There are multiple ways to do so, and there's actually one really good way that I think you guys will enjoy. So at the end of the show, I did say we would do a giveaway, and that is what I'm going to do. Let me go ahead and show you guys what you could win. Let me see if I can actually get it pulled up. Where is MrTribune when you need her? Let me scroll up here. Guys, give me just 1 second. It's worth it for the giveaway, I guarantee it. Who wouldn't want a free, high-quality shirt? All right. We're going to have to do this manual. Give me 1 second, and we will be right there. All right, let's go ahead and share the screen. Sorry for the dead time. I had to focus for a second. Let's go back to the display. All right. So here we have the new design, Flat Life, the new standard, super cool shirt that you guys can enjoy. And we're also going to have the front side. There you go, so you guys can see that. We just finished these designs today, so they're hot off the presses. But yeah, go ahead and get yours today for free. Let's go ahead and get it, guys. I know I'm going to have to keep track of both chats, Rockfin and the YouTube. Thank you guys for sticking around. We're going to do the old number jamboree, the old 1 through 100. So don't go just yet. I got to write it down. Give me 1 second, guys. That's how unprepared we were. All right. I'm going to write it down here. Jesus Christ, that's not going to work. All right. 1 second. These are the end of the show bloopers that only you guys get to enjoy. So thanks for being the real ones, hanging it out with Mr. T. All right. Got it written down. One number to rule them all. Folks, fire away. 1 through 100. First one to get it. Rockfin or YouTube. The shirt is yours. All right. Let's go ahead and get it. Waiting for these numbers to come on in. Let's get some music in the background while we do this. Let's get, man, we're still on YouTube, so we got to be limited. All right, here's the numbers. Let's see here. Not quite. Not quite. Let me play this in low volume. Maybe this will be decent. There we go. Let's see them numbers, folks. Where are you at? First one to get it wins the shirt. Flat Life, the new standard. Let's get it. We got some people. No, not in the, don't have it in Rockfin yet. Come on, it's 1 through 100, guys. No one has it yet. Close. Very close. The one who was 666, that one was very close. Not quite. Don't give up, Rockfin. We're still in it. Who is going to be the winner? Not quite. Close enough. Just kidding. It's not horseshoes. You got to get it right on the money. There are no points for almost. All right, narrowing it down. 1 through 50. 1 through 50. Still waiting for the winner, guys. Let's get it. No one has it yet. 66.6. No. Nope. Under 50 now. Man. Oh, we have a winner. We have a winner. Winner. All right, congratulations to Admiral Dickie Bird. The answer was 14. All right. Thank you for playing. What an awesome, awesome show. Admiral Dickie Bird, you are the winner with 14. I believe you were the first one. Let me just double check. I don't think anybody else had it before you. Nope. Alrighty. There you have it, folks. There you have it. The first winner of the giveaway, of our first giveaway. So go ahead and, I don't know how you want to get at me. You can email me at troublingtribune, Gmail, or you can get at me on Telegram, and we'll get that mailing information, get this sent out to you post haste. Gonna be awesome, man. Congratulations. I can't imagine winning such a sick shirt on a live game show. Oh, wait. Yes, I can. Thank you, Melodome. Huge shout out. Be sure to check us out Sunday mornings. There's going to be the members only stream. So that's going to be Wednesday. Be sure to check it out. You guys might get to see Mr. T do a little dance. Who knows? But going to be awesome, folks. If you like the merch, if you like that shirt, then go over to the store now. It is awesome. They are affordable, and every purchase does go to support the show. So let's make it a fashion statement, shall we? All right. Without further ado, let's do a quick shout out for those who are in the chat. Still, we have Shifty Eyes Shady, Unindoctrinated, Robert Page, Admiral Dickie Bird, of course, Paku McCleaver, Flat Powerism to the people, absolutely, Flat Power. Nuba, legendary. We got Ace, Shifty Eyes, Jeremy Bird, Missouri Explorer, Ace, Live Music, FE Nation. All right, trying to get through these a little faster. All right, I'm not going to keep you guys up anymore. Let's just listen to some baller music on our way out. Thank you guys for joining us. I guess we had a little bit of our own Brenda-zode. I knew it was coming, but I didn't know exactly when. But we're always appreciative to have the conversations. So let's go ahead and play us out. I will see you guys next time. Huge shout out to the supporters. Go get your membership at VIP. Enough grifting. Enjoy the show. Song. Don't know whatever's next. I'll see you then. Peace.